Well, hello everybody, and welcome back. The last episode we did banded contour, which has created this piece of our hand. It's popping out at you in all of its black and white glory. We're going to add color to it now, and it's really going to pop after that. So without further ado, here we go. We're going to be using watercolor for this. Now, since I needed the speed for a demo, we did not use the good markers. We did not use the permanent ink ones. So we might have a little bleeding, which is okay. It's still going to look just fine. We're still going to get the 3D effect we're looking for. And it's still going to be all good in the drawn hood. I'm going to lay in my flat colors at first, and then we're going to go back in and shade them. We're going to be using blue and we're going to be using orange because they are complementary colors and they make each other pop. You'll never see a bluer blue than when it's next to orange. Interesting fact, blue is the last color that our eyes have developed to being able to see. And in many cultures, blue and green are the same word. People will end up saying it is blue like the sky or it is blue like the grass. Something to ponder. Now we are quickly getting into our groove, and I am going to put up our friend the owlbear of fast forwarding. When you see him, you know that it is safe to click the little gearbox and fast forward the video so you can watch it at a speed that seems magical as the art leaps upon the page. And then towards the end, well, not even towards the end, towards the middle, we'll be back to normal speed to discuss the shading and making it all pop. Hey there, how's it going? I see that y'all decided not to fast forward it and watch in real time. I thank you for having the patience that not many show these days. There can be much gleaned in the slower passage of time in this day-to-day rushed world. Sometimes it's nice to catch our breath. Now, spending the last few days in the morning and the evening both going out to the lake, getting on the pier and hanging out with my dog with a nice cup of coffee. Of course, my dog has no chill and decides to torment the ducks and the geese, which reminds me I need to bring some bread down to them this evening. A little peace offering for the wily dog that gives them so much trouble. I'm rather fond of blue. It's peaceful, it's relaxing. If you get too dark and too gray, it can be depressing, but if you get the color just right, it can be chill without the fear of bringing you down. Weird fact, and we'll talk about this more in the psychology of color that we'll be doing down the road. People tend to lift more weights, heavier weights, in a blue room, which to me doesn't make much sense. You would think it would be the yellow or the red because they get your heart pumping. But no, it is the blue rooms where people lift the heaviest weights. And I would like to see the explanation behind that research, why a hypothesis, as it were, to why that is. I know that our sky is blue because the wavelength is hard to filter out. That's the only reason. Water's blue, sky's blue, blue travels, whereas red does not. That's why on Navy ships, when everything goes bad, the lights turn to red, because your eyes stay dilated and the enemy cannot see onto your boat. The red does not travel far enough for them to see what's going on. So if it were blue, in theory, you'd be in trouble. We're going to get a little bit outside the lines, but we shall forgive ourselves. It's just my style, man. Once we put that orange in, when they crisscross, they'll neutralize each other. It'll just seem a little bit darker. And all will once again be right in the world. I started thinking about this. This is a day-and-a-half project usually in the classroom, which would be 3 hours. Well, not and a half. That'll be a little over 2 hours. But we are not going to take that long on that. We're going to stay focused, raise the bar, and get her done. One wavy contour line at a time. This also works well in marker, and I've seen people do it in color pencil, although the color pencil takes a lot more time to get the rich and vibrant colors that you need to make this work. You can also do this digitally. I've seen people actually take photographs of their hand and then trace over it and then go back in and color it once they have the line art done. One of our earlier videos has a bunch of resources for stuff like that. Free resources, just in case you run out of supplies. You know, I've been going through paper like crazy lately. One benefit of the digital art as well is you can click each one of these sections and just tell it to fill, and it's going to fill it. The best way to do it would be to select the black, make it its own layer, put that on the top, and then color underneath that layer. And also set that top black layer on multiply, which means whenever it goes over a color, it will only get darker. A little digital magic there for you. Even though y'all will rarely see me use digital, for a good part of my career, that's what I focused on when I was younger. It's just so quick. You need the job done fast and it to look sharp and good. Digital is a good choice. But after years of doing digital coloring for one of my comic books called Neo-Earth, something inside me snapped and I had to go back to traditional. So even now, when I'm working on video game stuff, I do as much as I can traditional before I scan it in and start doing animations. I guess if there were a point to this story is that your artistic journey is just that. You're not going to have one set out clear path most of the time. But each thing that you do will help the other. Being a good sculptor helps you being a good drawer, helps you being a good painter. Of course, you could be someone that just focuses on one thing. Traditionally in American comics, you have a penciler, an inker, writer, colorist, letterist. All these people usually focus on one skill. They get really good at that one skill, and that's what they bring to the team, to the table. The hills are alive with the sound of painting. Blue's coming along nicely. I don't know what I was thinking with all this waviness. It makes the painting a little bit more challenging. But without the challenge, what is life really? Beautiful thing about watercolors is you can push it around. If you start dropping that orange in there, we can tighten up this blue. I'm so blue, ba 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 blue. Mm-mm-mm. Carry on, my wayward son. There'll be art when you are done. Lay your weary sketch pad to rest. Yep. I see a student in the back, latecomer. Mr. McGlynn, please bring your tardy note to the front and lay it on the table. It's good to see you, my boy. You've been shooting hoops in the gym again? We are working on banded contour at the moment. We're going to use blue and we're going to use orange because they're complements. We're going to make this hand pop out at you as if it were 3D. Oh my goodness, McGlynn. You're going to get yourself in trouble. Glenn is our Canadian exchange student. Quite the young artist himself. Speaking of which, don't forget you can share all your stuff in our Discord. Just make it all ages friendly. We will drop a link in the box below. Don't forget, this technique works with much more than just a hand. You can do cars, you can draw animals. Like I mentioned in the first video, I've seen haunted houses use it to make ghosts coming out of walls. Creepy skeletons. Clever paint job and a black light can work magic. Trying to even out our paint a little bit. Once we put that orange in there, that's when the magic's really going to happen. After that, we'll do a little bit of shading, and it'll all be gravy. It will all be gravy. Surprisingly enough, our Sharpie is actually holding up much better than I thought. I thought we were going to get a little bit of streaking going on, a little blurring. It has not happened, knock on wood. Scoop dooby dooby, like Scooby Dooby Doo, wop bop 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 bop. Alright, stop, collaborate and listen. King is back with a brand new invention. Something takes a hold of me tightly, flow like a harpoon daily and nightly. Will it ever stop? Yo, I don't know. Bring me some paint and I will flow to the stream, Maraca, painting like I can do. Light up some paper and rock some watercolors like I can do. Dance, correct the speakers that boom. A pain in your brain may be a poisonous mushroom, deadly. When I lay a dope color theory. Alright, vanilla ice I am not. And let's all be thankful for that. I can hear my better half in the other room talking on the phone. Ooh, that might not be on the phone. Our good friend Ross the Cross is supposed to come over with some stew, some deer meat stew. So he may be here at the moment. Some of y'all know him as Mr. Phillips, English teacher extraordinaire, and heck of a good cook. He could have gone into the culinary arts. Mr. McLean says, you'll have to wait there, sonny boy. You have third lunch, and it's not quite here yet. As long as it's not more than a group of 10, says Mr. Bubba from the back. Weird times we're in, weird times. This is the dawning of the age of the introvert. Right, all right, all right. All right, Mr. McLean and Mr. Bubba, y'all keep it down in the back. I'm trying to concentrate here. Oh no. Look what y'all have done. Time to start all over. Flip the table, rage quit. We're not doing that. We're going to press on. And now that I'm thinking about it, when Mr. Phillips shows up, we could do some performing arts with him. We'll have him sing about being an English teacher, and I'll back him up on the harmonica. Class, would y'all like to see that video? I'm pretty sure I can talk him into it. No Wade quitting. That's funny. All right. We're turning the fast forward Albeer off for a second. We're going to talk about what we've done. We've dropped in our blue. We're about to drop in our orange. See that? Look at that. It's already starting to pop. Pop-a-doo, pop-it-up, pop-pop. Now you could leave it at this with the white and the blue, and you could shade the blue and it would look awesome. But we're not going for awesome. We're going for mind-blowing. Okay? We don't do easy, we do interesting. So let's continue on, shall we? It is orange time. I think I need something to rest my hand on. Use this playing card. What's love got to do with it? What's love but a second-hand emotion? One thing wonderful about using complements is what happens if we mix complements? Do we get a color? Do we get a new color? The answer is no, we do not. They neutralize each other because they're opposites. So they bring themselves down to a brownish range, which can be used for shading. So when we do our final phase after all of this, it's going to be easy to shade with these. And so when we get in the zone, time has no meaning, there is only art. People make the mistake of getting in their head that the goal is the finished product, which is crazy. It's the journey, man. It's not the goal. It's not the end. Enjoy the process. If you can do that, you are ahead of the game. Oh, I know. Mr. McGlenn says that's deep. We're not wading into the kiddie pool, man. We're talking about the journey, man. That's half the fun of being a teacher. Right now, while we're doing this project, I have 30 little creative minds all coming up with 30 different ways to do this project. And every time I got a chance to walk around to see how they were doing, I'd get to see something new and exciting. Which brings me to my next point. Make sure y'all start sharing this stuff in Discord, because I would dearly like to see it. Also, we would love some inspirational art. I did a piece with an older Italian gentleman playing guitar outside in Italy, and because that was a beautiful thing. I would love to see some people share inspirational art to pick up everybody. Art can be very powerful. Even if you don't want to do visual art, inspirational words, quotes, poems, maybe an original song here or there would be awesome. I know some of our students are ahead of the game, which I think is awesome. Hmm. Oh yeah. Lift a little bit of that paint off. I want that to be a little bit lighter going over the hand. So if we get most of the water and paint off of that brush, it'll pull it up like so. Ta-da! And that's your lesson in lifting. Cue the Japanese credits. Tonya heart attack. Arigato heart attack. Ichi no revenue. We watched the old anime Bubblegum Crisis so much that my friends and I could sing it in Japanese, a language we do not know fairly accurately, I would hope. But that would be our convention song when we were but young teenagers traveling way too far to be at conventions that were magical back in the 90s. I know some of y'all don't believe the 90s actually happened, that there would be such a time as the 90s and even the 80s, but they did, and they were glorious. Don't get me wrong, conventions are still fun. Unfortunately, most of them have been canceled now, understandably, but that won't always be the case. They'll be back. They will be back. About halfway through the orange now. Mr. Student Rain, good to see you. Please bring your tardy pass to the front of the class and set it on my desk. Hopefully you're out for a good reason, returning from a field trip maybe. It's been a while since we've seen you. What we are up to today, we're filming a video so that all the classes that are out right now can keep up on top of their artwork. And we are doing banded contour, which creates the illusion of 3D. When you finish this, we're going to have a hand that's popping out of the page. Now, class, keep in mind, I don't mind you talking amongst yourself as long as we're working. So make sure those pencils and those brushes are getting at it. Want to see all the beautiful art shared in Discord? We will be dropping a link to inspire the world. I don't hear my wife anymore, but I did hear the front door. I think she may have run off with the English teacher, Mr. Phillips. They're out exploring, looking for toilet paper and milk. Things have been good around here. Been enjoying ourselves, enjoying the lake, enjoying spending time with Monica and the dog. We took Rusty over to my parents' house, where we partook of red beans and rice and saw their awesome new camper, which we will be going camping with them, hopefully not too long. I swear this thing's as big as my first house, and the bedrooms are nicer. We're going to drop in all this color in between the fingers so that when we drop a second coat it will darken up and the coat above it can remain lighter, which will further create the illusion of the hand popping out. We are getting down to the nitty and the gritty. It's the final countdown before some serious shading. Have you noticed that Disney Plus and some of the other stream sites are releasing things early? You watched How to Train Your Dragon 3, which granted might not have been early, but I hadn't seen it. 2 Go was very exciting. And I think there's a few things that are going to skip the theater that they were coming out with. So this is going to be an interesting precedence. All right. And here's that light darkness fade I was talking about. Get that pop, 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 pop. Da 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 da. Now we're getting the final season of Clone Wars. Unfortunately, The Mandalorian has been put on hold because of all the craziness, which is a shame. It's the best thing to come out in years, in my humble opinion. I don't know what people are going to do without more Baby Yoda. Student McGlenn just said that Audible is letting students use Audible while schools are out. I did not know that. That is good information. Now you know. Knowing is half the battle. I think this will be a good time for me to catch up on my anime. Don't tell anybody, but I actually started to play a video game, which I never have time for. Not that I've had much free time. I enjoy doing it, but making these educational videos have been taking quite a bit of my time up, which I've been meaning to do for years, so I'm glad they're getting done. I'm going to leave a little bit of my wisdom behind. As it were. And they are going to get increasingly complex. We're starting out with the bare bones, and we're going to work our way up into some serious art theory. Going to take it one step at a time. Make all the art knowledge mine. Taking it one step at a time. Instead of the different strokes, this will be the brush strokes. The days of our pens. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. I actually don't know how soap opera music goes. One can only imagine. Ooh, we're getting so close to doing the fun stuff. We're gonna drop in a cast shadow on one side of this hand. And that's where it's all gonna come together. Yeah, I watched that Togo show and I was like, this is Balto's story. And then I realized at the end, I did a little research. There was like 20 something teams that got that medicine through. And Balto was one of the dogs on one of the teams. One of the ones that actually did the last bit of it. As it turns out, they were supposed to have the easiest run, but they got caught in some bad weather. So he ended up doing his part of the run plus the last one. And that's why he gets most of the credit. But the dude that this movie was in with the dog Togo, I'm probably saying his name wrong. That was his dog and Balto, but he said Balto was too big and not lean and agile enough, so he loaned him to a friend. He was also the dude that was credited for starting the Siberian Huskies. So he's got a lot going for him. Anyways, the long and short of it is they're both good movies. I'll go back and watch the animated Balto now that I've watched this one. I can hear people outside. I think some of my friends may have showed up. When you live on a lake, people tend to want to socially distance with you. A nice bonfire going last night. My boy Bon is a magician with the fires. Hence the name Bon, I guess. The bonfires. Ba-dum-bum. and sing songs. It's just an old-fashioned love song coming through in two-part harmony. When I told you that I loved you, when I promised to be true, when I swore that there could never be anyone but you, when I told you that I loved you, with those tender words I spoke, I was only kidding. Can't you take a joke? Yes, the soothing sound of music heals heart. Heals the heart. All right. Now we could spend all day tinkering with this. We could do that. But since this is a demonstration stream, we're not going to do that. We're going to move on. Now, you can see the hand popping out. It's already got its three-dimensionality working. But we're going to do one last thing. Ooh, look at it. We're going to do one last thing to make this work. We're going to decide which side our light source is coming from, and then we're going to drop a cast shadow on the opposite side. And when we do that, it's all going to be clear. Now, I want that thumb to show up really well. So we're going to have our light source coming from the left and going to the right. Alright, that's how we're going to do that. So it's going to be on top, slightly to the left, coming down this way. And this is when the magic's going to happen. Well, since we use complements, this next part's going to be really easy. We're going to mix our blue, and we're going to mix our orange with just a touch of purple, and that's going to make this brown out of the complements that's going to be for shading. Okay, here we go. This is the final countdown. Da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da. We've been here forever, yet we stand strong. And something, something. I can't remember this song, but we're using color theory. And it won't let us down, let us down. We're gonna drop in some shadows. It's the final countdown. So many people worry, they're like, oh no, I ruined my piece. If you know your theory behind why we do everything, it's like a comforting safety blanket that guides you when you do art. Because as much as this didn't look good on the first stroke, I know that it's going to come out right. Because art theory, diggity diggity. So when I finish all of these little lines, I've done what I know to be true, it's going to come out in 3D, popping out for me and for you. Hot diggity darn. And, ladies and gentlemen, we have Le 3D Hand with banded contour. Oh my. I can dig it. Can you dig it? I can dig it. Can you dig it? Now, to finish it off, I would spray it with a workable clear coat and then go in with my jelly pen. But we don't have time for that right now. We're going to move on to other things. Not better, but other things. Alright? I am so glad you spent this time with me on this banded contour. This one took a little bit longer than our other demos, but we had fun with it. I'm going to be coming back at you with more videos soon, and we are going to do the psychology of lines and emotion of lines and how to use them for character designs for comics and video games and all kinds of cool stuff. Alright. Y'all have been the best. Take care and be good to each other.